Hello, what is up everyone? It is the one and only Maxi here, and I'm once again back for the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Banjo-Tooie for the Nintendo 64/Xbox Live Arcade on various Xbox systems ranging from the Xbox 360, Xbox One, and of course Xbox Series X along with Series S. So, last time, I believe that if I recall correctly, we've pretty much almost done with the forms of the entire world of the forms of Grunty Industries, and overall, we've almost completed, like I said earlier, including the forms of trying to deal with probably the hardest boss fight in the game called Welder. But oh no, despite there are some couple of death situations, I did have a decent time at it. Not the best run either, but it's sure it's decent. So today, for this episode, is the fact that we are moving on to the forms of Hailfire Peaks, the 7th world in Banjo-Tooie. Now what's unique about this world, as you can tell, not only do we able to actually stumble across the lava section, but also the ice theme section as well. So this means it's like a combination of fire and ice. So yeah, that seems kind of interesting and quite intriguing at the same time. So meaning about the fact that depending on what specific side you go to, this meaning about the fact that there's going to be a lot of emphasis on backtracking in this place, which I don't mind it at all, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, aside from the fact that we're pretty much almost towards at the very end of the game, so we can expect this much. So yeah. Today's day is of course the, what day today it is the 29th of September today, in this case in 2021. And we literally only got 2 more days to go until we moved on to the next month, which appears to be by the forms of October. Now, speaking of the forms of October month actually, I just want to classify something before we're able to get this started. Unfortunately though, for on Friday, this Friday most likely, on the 1st of October, I don't think we can able to actually upload anything for Banjo-Tooie anytime soon, until specifically next Monday, to be more specifically, because obviously until by that time, that the physical version of Sonic Colors Ultimate will be releasing on the forms of the 1st of October, which is about time after the events of that EMEA delivery kind of thing. And as a result though, I just simply cannot wait until whenever I'm able to get my hands on Sonic Colors again, but on the forms of the modern systems. So, but yeah, that's basically that, and yeah, I just want to let you guys about that specific update in mind, because obviously that, although, eventually though, you're still able to actually get a chance to able to see some more upcoming parts of Wario Land 3, along with Mario Party 6, so yeah, there's still those videos to be up, and as far as Banjo-Tooie is concerned, that there might be some bit of delays here and there due to the forms of some of these stuff is about to be coming, so potentially speaking, that might be seems the case, mind you. So either way though, we can expect this much. So anyway, a few things I want to explain in regards to the forms of this particular. Oh, you. God damn it! I hate knockback in this thing sometimes. Oh jeez. But at least thankfully we still survived, despite that we actually got full damage, and also that despite the fact that we ended up getting knocked back, and then as a result, it'll take us to the lava as we go. So, yeah, that's no fun. And, yeah, because obviously though, it's the fact that we have to avoid a lot of lava right there, much like the forms of how it does it on quicksand from the likes of, Gobi's Valley and stuff like that. Well, I don't know if they're able to actually include anything lava related, although technically I'm getting sick of these little crazy hands and stuff like that coming from the walls. Ah, jeez. I'm about to die a lot, potentially speaking, because obviously this is like a lava-themed kind of area. But, either way. But at least we can able to find some more music notes, especially noticeable just trying to dodge those stingy hands just managed able to show up out of nowhere, so, I couldn't see that other lava hand because I just getting screwed over by the change of camera angles. Oh well, no big deal. Especially that the thing's still saved and all that stuff though, so, whatever. So anyways, let's get into the main topic of the informs of today's video, and that is the fact that, well, remember when I mentioned this a couple of times ago, ever since, I think it was in the 5th world actually, that we were expecting to be able to see the Nintendo Direct anytime soon. It turns out it already existed during the course of a day before My Little Pony: A New Generation has been up. On Netflix actually. So because of that though, yeah, we have our new Nintendo Direct for about almost a week ago right now. So, but generally speaking, I was really excited. Especially noticeable that, well, first of all, they actually got quite a number of those announcements that keep some fans happy. To be more specifically, the huge one out of the bunch though, but we'll save that until for later. And first of all, before we discuss on that topic, here's the forms of the next boss called Chili Billy right here, which appears to be the fire dragon right there. Although, with this world in particular, as you can see, not only do we need to fight this boss, but also another boss fight as well, in the ice side of things, as you can see in the background in the distance. Meaning that we might be able to do 2 bosses all in one particular side of things. So, yeah, this seems interesting. Although the entire battle between the two might actually play out exactly the same, although the only difference is the fact that this particular fire-breathing dragon kind of boss fight right there, his weakness is obviously with these ice eggs. So because of that though, yeah, you probably expect it at this point. Although, we need to watch out for that particular extendable green tongue that he sends out. Because obviously, if you get touched by the forms of the green tongue, then you get hit. So, and as far as I'm aware, he only has like 6 health. So, or 6 hits for that matter. So, but again, in order to deal the damage, is the fact that, taking notice from the likes of Grand Tilda, the final boss in Banjo-Kazooie, that basically we need to be able to shoot those eggs, to be able to actually shoot them into the cannon and stuff like that with those little insertable holes. However, unlike the forms of how it does in the original game's final boss, that we're able to actually trigger the forms of not only Jinjos, but also Jinjinota. But, except the fact that we have to use these eggs to able to activate cannons to able to deal the damage with this guy in particular, along with the next guy as well, but that'll be an entirely different story whenever we get into that. So, yeah, for the most part, this boss fight is pretty easy when you get the hang of it though. Certainly a lot easier than Wildo, as in the hardest boss fight in the whole game, at least to me anyway, so, yeah, anyway, if you get enough hits on him though, although the only tip I was able to give you guys about something, I highly recommend until when he managed able to fire the actual projectile at us, and then also I just realized that these cannons will don't usually get destroyed. So yeah, when he does that, and he immediately fire the actual the ice eggs back at him, and sure enough, when you defeat him enough times, then he's done for good. Although, that we're still not done with the boss fights department yet though, because there's another one like I said earlier. So because of that though, we'll get to that eventually, we'll get to there. So either way though, there goes that, and yeah, that's pretty much about it all the way up there. So now we can able to, you know, continue exploring for the rest of the lava side of things. So yeah, I think we should probably do that right now. So, gotta say, I really love this world in this particular Hailfire Peaks, because it's especially noticeable as like, again, a combination of both, you know, the fire environment along with the ice environment. So even then, that does look pretty cool in terms of like, you know, the world's designed like this. So anyways, now let's go ahead and split up for Banjo and Kazooie. So first of all, we need to, oh, don't you dare give me a knockback again. Although that's fine, because if I somehow die, then it actually respawns me onto that specific split pad. So if I mess this up, then I might be alright with that. So, anyway, let's get to the actual main topic of, are you kidding me? It does have a biggest large hitbox with those little hand stuff. Okay, whatever. So anyways, let's get into the actual beginning portion of the Nintendo Direct just recently came up, and it's a good thing it's a proper general Direct, just like in February in this year. So as a result, I will say that the amount of Directs they've got throughout in 2021, it is certainly is a lot better than the forms of how it does on last year was, because obviously last year was pretty terrible, with only one exception, and that's of course Super Mario Bros. 35th Anniversary Direct, which is still is the biggest highlight for me. But aside from that, any other directs in last year is pretty bad. Especially noticeable because you know what. So anyway, before we get into the actual announcements they've got for that recent Nintendo Direct, here's the forms of Sack Pack. And basically what this does is that this allows you to able to actually go through gaps, and especially noticeable, it allows you to able to be protected by certain stuff, which it does look pretty cool. Oh, ow. I'm so sorry for you, Gem Jars, that you somehow got smacked on your head again. I think the last time we did this, it was actually in, I would say, in the first world or the second world for that matter, because I know it has been 2 days since I actually last recapped watching those previous parts of this playthrough, which I must admit though, because I was really excited when it comes to the forms of new infos and stuff like that, in regards to the forms of, you know, Nintendo Direct and everything. So, yeah, anyways, without further ado, let's get into this discussion. First of all, they revealed the forms of the expansion to the likes of Monster Hunter Rise, because obviously Monster Hunter Rise at the moment is actually pretty popular, like the most popular Nintendo Switch games out there throughout the whole year. And for the actual reason for it is the fact that they've coined the expansion for it for the likes of Monster Hunter Rise, called Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. And as far as I recall correctly, the release date for it, for the expansion, is going to be releasing next summer, in summer 2022. So, that could take a while though, especially noticeable after, like, you know, how amazing Monster Hunter Rise is for the Nintendo Switch anyway. Mind you, I didn't get the game, honestly, just because, well, I wasn't really into Monster Hunter stuff as much as the next guys, but maybe it's just me. And of course, as you can see, that this is what the Sack Pack looks in action. And of course, we got ourselves another Black Jinjo. And of course, we got ourselves a pretty familiar fish, which that'll be for later, mind you. So, yeah, that's pretty much about it. And the next thing they've shown us is some more info in regards to the forms of Mario Party Superstars. And for what I've noticed on the actual footage alone, well, first of all, they've now bring Daisy as a playable character ever since back in 2000 in Mario Party 3, so that's good. And also we got ourselves the forms of our proper look of the forms of Woody Woods that has been technically already confirmed back in E3 2021. And as a result though, that Woody Woods is definitely confirmed. But in addition to that, we got ourselves 2 new boards that's going to bring a comeback, which is, well, Yoshi's Tropical Island, which I think is actually a pretty good choice though in my opinion. As well as for that, everyone's fan favorite board for Mario Party 2 is back. Yes, I'm talking about Horrorland. I'm very glad that Horrorland comes back, especially noticeable. That appears to be my favorite board in Mario Party 2. And I think that most of any other Mario Party fans agree with this, especially noticeable because it's unique and the atmosphere is pretty cool. Although, I get the strong sense of feeling the reason why Horrorland exists is because it was roughly 2 days before Halloween exists. Well, assuming if that game will come out, potentially speaking. So, and also they've shown us some more mini games they've shown off, and also shown off some other modes. Well, at the moment right now, they've shown us the forms of specifically related to online play and stuff like that, which in this case they actually introduced into ourselves Mount mini games, which basically they divide into a few modes. Like, for instance, survival mode, whoever wins, whoever continuously has the majority of the winning streaks and all that stuff, which I think is pretty cool. And also the tag match, which I'm guessing is like the same thing, although potentially speaking, it has been a while since I actually seen some more footage of Mario Party Superstars. Since the full minigame compilation, they've obviously managed to reveal all 100 minigames and all that stuff, which I'll talk more about that in a moment. But as you can see, that we actually stumbled across that familiar alien thing ever since in Jolly Roger's Lagoon, that we actually seen that before. But one of those aliens somehow crash landed, so, and apparently dies somehow. Oh jeez, that must have felt very painful with that massive drop. But anyway, and the release date is pretty much unchanged. It's still going to be releasing until at some point on October 29th. So no delays or anything, thank God for that. So, because I was so desperately able to play the game after so long after playing through Super Mario Party ever since 3 years ago. So even then though, it's about time to play some more Mario Party action yet again. So at least I'm very happy for it. So, and the next game they did reveal is kind of a random game, to be honest, and that one appears to be made by Square Enix. And apparently, ow, how dare you hit me? How dare you hit me, you stupid big foot? Although that we have to wait for a little while, because much like the fire side, there's actually going to be a random projectile thing that usually comes up, and sure enough, that'll deserve him for able to get a much more brighter foot. And somehow he just says ouch, as in echo. Anyway, the game calls it Voice of Cards, the Owl Dragon Rolls, and apparently that game is about to come out a day before Mario Party Superstars is about to be releasing on the 28th of October of all things. So, yeah, that's a bit weird, but I guess that's something, I suppose. Even though I wasn't really particularly looked at the gameplay all that much though, just because, well, I wasn't really a big fan of those kind of games like this, but aside from that, it's fine. And the next game they did revealed is the forms of Disco Simulum, the final cut. And I think the game is about to due out on digital version until October 12th of 2021. And as far as the physical version, as far as I'm concerned, for I've seen the actual video footage of it right now, it's going to be releasing in early next year. So I guess that's something, I suppose. And of course, after that, they've shown us some more information, along with some more footage, from the likes of the Part 2 of the likes of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity Expansion Pass. And this time, it's going to be mainly focusing on the forms of, well, let's just say, Guardian of Resistance. And they only managed able to get ourselves the release date for it, which is surprisingly enough, it was expecting to be able to be releasing until this November, but it turns out it's going to come out, oh my god, I just realized, it's going to come out on exactly the same day as in Mario Party Superstars, so that's double the dip, I suppose, so yeah, that's top notch. And all it gets is this basically with the new story, and also new stages, and new playable characters, and new added actions for the existing characters, so yeah, definitely can't wait to go back onto Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity again. Despite the fact that I haven't touched upon it that much though, just because I was busy playing, you know, WarioWare, getting together and stuff like that, which just seems true, so... Chili, really? Okay, so basically it's like an Ice Dragon counterpart of that particular Fiery Dragon like we've already faced off earlier, so... And before we get into more info on that, it's the fact that obviously we now stumbled across into kind of an identical boss fight, except now, I'm presuming his health is actually doubled up compared to the forms of the Fire Dragon counterpart, so yeah, because his health is now 12 as opposed to 6, so yeah, basically you have to do the same thing as before, except now, rather than using Ice Eggs, instead we now need to use Fire Eggs, because obviously Ice is weak to Fire, so because of that though, it makes sense, so... And of course, the entire battle makes it a little bit harder than the forms of how it does it on the Fire Dragon fight, because now he moves a little bit faster, and he shoots a lot more faster this time, so because of that though, yeah, it's definitely a lot harder than the forms of how it does it on the Fire Dragon, that's for sure. But otherwise, a standard boss fight, you still do the exact same, like, fire these eggs as projectiles at him, and that's all you have to do in this entire battle. So yeah, not much of a challenge, despite the fact that it makes things a little bit trickier, just because he moves a lot faster and stuff, so that might be the only difficult part about the fight, so... But I digress. And the next thing they've shown off is the forms of another game made by Square Enix, and it's more likely a spin-off from the likes of the Final Fantasy game. And to be more specifically, it's more accurately focusing on Chocobo, and it's basically Chocobo GB, which is more likely a racing game based off from one of those characters from Final Fantasy series. So yeah, that's interesting. and that particular game is about to due out at some point in 2022 next year. So, I guess that's something. And, of course, we can never forget the forms of the most important thing of them all, is the Super Smash Bros. Final DLC fighter. However, though, they teased us about the fact that they somehow posted the actual image, and it did say the final battle, and it did manage to say the actual release date for it on that particular presentation, and that's going to due out at some point on next Tuesday. So this means that it's going to be on the 5th of October, which reminds me, not only does it came out during exactly the same day, as in Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania on multiple platforms, but also it's about to come out during exactly the same day as in the Super Smash Bros. Clone, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. So it's like, how weird is that with that particular release presentation design choice? But, yeah, I'm very excited to see what the final fighters are going to be. It wasn't until specifically we've already got 6 days to go, because obviously today's day is of course the 29th of September, of course, like I mentioned earlier. So we have to wait for a little while until whenever I decide to play Sonic Colors Ultimate for a bit. Assuming if I was going to play it on the actual Switch version or something, but either way though, we'll see what happens there. We'll definitely see what happens there. So, yeah, and I can't wait to see what the final fighters are going to be. It's a little bit weird able to wait for a little while, so I guess that's okay. And, yeah, we just can't wait to see what the actual fight is going to be like, but we have to wait and see. So, and after that, we got ourselves the most exciting thing of them all, though, and that is the forms of, for the very first time ever, Kirby is actually in fully 3D for the first time. Well, technically, Kirby 64 doesn't count because it's more likely like a 2D game, or should I say 2.5D platformer like side-scrolling and stuff like that. No, I think, potentially speaking, with the new Kirby game is on the horizon until next year, which is a perfect opportunity because obviously next year Kirby will be 30th next year. So yeah, Kirby's 30th anniversary is approaching until next year. And what a good way to celebrate it with that is by releasing the next new game. It's in entirely in 3D, so this means it's the actual first ever 3D Kirby game. So as a result though, his 3D Kirby game is actually called Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And I will say, I am very happy with that. Especially noticeable, it's been such a long time since most of the fans were asking for it. Especially noticeable, there are some rumors out there that keep mentioning about that. And the actual release date for it, it's going to be on spring next year. So because of that though, I am definitely excited with that particular next installment after, well, a pretty alright Kirby Star Allies game. Well, usually, despite the visuals do look really good and all that stuff, but aside from that, I'm just so happy with the next Kirby game is going to be in 3D for the first time. So, I almost thought to myself it might actually be something related to Mario Odyssey 2 or a 3D Donkey Kong game after Donkey Kong 64, but it turns out it was a Kirby game, which I was like, oh my gosh, a 3D Kirby game! I am so excited for it, and I can definitely pick it up in day one until next year, which I was really excited about that. In fact, let me know in the comments below. Actually, I'll get into more details about that in a second, because the next thing they did revealed is the fact that not only... Oh yeah, and by the way, with that fish I've already picked up from the likes of the fireside from like I picked it up earlier, well, we do need to deliver that fish to that familiar Bogle fella right there, ever since in the first Banjo-Kazooie game. Although he's gone a lot more fatter now than he forms the fella does on the first game, so... Yeah, I'm guessing he's no longer going to be participating in sled races this time around. So yeah, it's kind of a shame. So anyway, the next thing they did reveal is the forms of the reveal from the likes of the next Nintendo Direct presentation, along with the forms of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's Final Fighter, and it's going to be announcing there's going to be another Direct during the exact same month, and this time it's mainly focusing on Animal Crossing New Horizons, and it's going to be due out at some point in next month in October. We don't know when exactly, but they will try to able to mention briefly about it and during at some point. Although I'm pretty sure they need to take care of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate one first before they go into Animal Crossing and stuff. So yeah, very exciting for most of any other Animal Crossing fans out there. And other free, new free content is going to be coming until November. So yeah, that's going to be quite exciting for most of you Animal Crossing New Horizon players out there. We'll expect to be so excited, able to go back into that game after some bit of disaster moments when it comes to likely lacking in content or something. Well, at least I haven't heard from it though, but either way. And the next thing they did revealed is another second free update, or in this case the second free update for Mario Golf Super Rush. Like, obviously you're able to include more characters and some more courses. To be more specifically, let's start with the characters first. They obviously bring back Koopa Troopa ever since in Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, which I'm very glad that Koopa Troopa is now going to be a playable character again after the GameCube installment, which is pretty happy. Especially noticeable that after the absence of Mario Golf World Tour, because obviously Koopa Paratroopa just managed able to make his playable debut instead. So I guess that's a nice thing to have. And what's really weird is that they got another weird character introduced in Mario Golf Super Rush, which is Ninja. So yeah, that seems very odd and pretty bizarre at the same time. So yeah, that seems pretty cool looking, I'm not gonna lie. Although the only still a downside to this though is the fact that they still haven't revealed Bodo yet, which they will do at some point, but maybe at some point in October if it's possible or not. But because obviously I'm assuming in August that we've already got ourselves Toadette along with New Donk City for a new course, and for this particular month actually that we've already got those contents between Koopa Troopa along with Ninja as playable characters, and also we got two new courses. One is winter themed, which technically in story mode in Mario Golf Super Rush that we've already experienced the winter kind of vibe course. But obviously I'm not going to spoil things majorly for those who have not played Mario Golf Super Rush yet. So I'll let you guys find out and see for yourself. So anyways, we got ourselves our proper original snowy course along with the forms of a secondary desert theme world. So yeah, that might be seems the case. And after that they got ourselves another 3DS port, or originally came out on the 3DS but is now ported to the Switch, much like Miitopia, but this time around though it's been made by Bandai Namco, and it's going to be Disney Magical World 2 Enchanted Edition, which it's basically the 3DS game but with a nice visuals I suppose. But aside from that, nothing about the game seems to be new or changes around here aside from the fact that it's on the Switch. So yeah, nothing major about it, aside from the fact that it's about to due out at some point in... I can't remember what the release days are going to be, but that's how it is for me, so... And the next game they did revealed is going to be a big one for those of you are the Star Wars fans out there, especially noticeable if you guys missed out on the original Xbox version of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Well, luckily for you Switch owners out there, that the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is now finally coming to the Nintendo Switch at some point on the Remembrance Day. Or is it? I think it's a Remembrance Day actually. Yeah, I think it's on coming on the 11th of November in this year. So yeah, that definitely seems awesome out there, especially noticeable you can now finally play the game on the go. Although, mind you, I'm presuming it's based off from the original version of the game, not so much the remake, because obviously the remake is already coming on the actual next generation of consoles from the likes of the PlayStation 5, along with the PC. I'm not exactly sure about the Series X though, but we'll see what happens in due time, so... And unfortunately I somehow died due to forms of, well, run out of air meter. But that's okay, because we've already got the Jiggy and all that stuff, so there's nothing need to be worried about this, so... Yeah, that's that. And I suppose the next game they did revealed is, the thing that wasn't particularly, it's not my cup of tea or anything, but it's Dying Light 2 Stay Human Cloud version, which... It's basically Dying Light 2, and basically except the fact that it's in cloud version, like cloud supports or something. well, mind you, I haven't really paid too much attention about it, but consecutively is the fact that the actual release date for it is going to be coming until the 4th of February next year. So, which, kind of think about it, we're actually almost getting pretty close to the forms of the 5th anniversary of the Nintendo Switch release for it. So, yeah, that does seem it's getting pretty close throughout. So, and after that though, they revealed the forms of some more information on Project Triangle Strategy, or to be more accurate, the final name for the game, it calls it Triangle Strategy. So, yeah, I have no idea why they're going for that final name for just Triangle Strategy, but I guess that's alright. I mean, if I've seen the gameplay footage of it though, the visual style still looks impressive, much like Octopath Traveler back in 2008, I think it's in 2018 actually. So yeah, even though it's not my cup of tea either, but for what I've looked at it, it does look pretty impressive, visually anyway. So, and finally, and also they're able to actually give us the release date for Triangle Strategy game, or yeah, I think it's Triangle Strategy, and that is the fact that they're going to release the game until the 4th of March next year, a day after the 5th anniversary of the Nintendo Switch existence. So yeah, that's pretty dope at the same time as well. And also they revealed the collector's edition for it, which actually contains I would say, the steelbook for the game, along with the game card itself, along with collectible playing cards deck, along with the forms of the double-sided poster, and also Diary of Loria box, and finally, the set of 6 customized dice. So, yeah, that seems kind of an interesting collector's items for those of you who desperately want to play the game now. Well, it wasn't until we have to wait for it until next year, so I guess that makes it obvious. And of course, they've shown us some more info on Metroid Dread, which I'm probably not going to talk more about it in further details, because one of those YouTubers doesn't want to get the game spoiled for himself, so I'm probably not going to mention about that. But I'm still very excited for it, especially noticeable after, you know, Metroid Fusion and stuff like that. Still has the actual release date, 8th of October, came out, it's going to come out during the exact same time as in the Switch OLED model. So, and the next thing they've shown us is the forms of some more info of Nintendo Switch Online membership services. So because of that, well, I'm happy to report is the fact that in addition to able to actually get ourselves some even more games, due to the fact that, yes, I'm happy to report that the Nintendo 64 games, and in addition to the Nintendo 64 games, the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis games are also coming on the Nintendo Switch Online membership services. Yes, N64 stuff, along with the Mega Drive stuff as well, is now on the Nintendo Switch Online services, which that keeps a lot of N64 fans happy, because in addition to able to play those games on the go, but also they can able to play some multiplayer stuff online. Like, for instance, for example, Mario Kart 64 is one of them, and Riot Wars, aka Star Fox 64, is another one of those examples. In addition to that, the Mario Tennis is also going to make its online playable stuff as well, which is awesome. And speaking of the library of games though, is the fact that for what I've seen an actual library of games for the N64 library, first of all, they've obviously managed to include Mario Kart 64, like I mentioned earlier, Riot Wars, aka Star Fox 64, like I said earlier. They also bring us Mario Tennis on the N64 as well, so that's super top-notch. And also they bring in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on the Switch Online membership service, so at least they've got that, but in the original form. So unfortunately no 3DS remake ported over there, so yeah, that seems kind of depressing. And also they did putting Yoshi's Story of all things, which is an odd choice, but I'll take it. And also they're bringing back Super Mario 64 again, but this time on the Switch Online membership services, despite the fact that we technically already got Super Mario 64 due to Super Mario 3D All-Stars, but I'm guessing we're gonna have the original release of the game, no longer gonna be like Shindu Edition. Unlike the 3D All-Stars compilation version, they obviously includes the Shindu version, because obviously with that You know what I mean, the high-pitched Mario voice every time you try to perform a triple jump and stuff like that. But, hey, at least it's there. So, and also they did manage to bring Operation Win back. I believe that's what the game is called anyway. And also they bring in Sin and Punishment in the actual online membership services as well. And finally, they're able to bring in Dr. Mario 64. So that means, yes, for European countries out there, for the first time ever, they can finally experience Dr. Mario 64 on a Nintendo Switch online membership service, which is pretty awesome actually, because you know what I mean, when it comes to PAL regions, we're still stuck with the forms of region locks, so that means that we can't play the game unless if we do need like the N64 Passport Plus 3 or something like that, or the Game Shark or something. I have no words to say. But yeah, that seems like a pretty good selection. But also, when it comes to the forms of the Mega Drive selections of games they did reveal they're gonna bring Golden Axe, Strider, Mushu, Shining Force, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, because I think that was the only Sonic game able to have multiplayer thing itself, along with Sonic 3 of course, but it hasn't added there yet. So, and also Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Streets of Rage 2, Shinobi 3, Echo the Dolphin, Gunstar Heroes, Phantasy Star 4, Castlevania Bloodlines is going to be on there, which is pretty interesting. And also we've got Contra Hard Corps. Oh, that will be really tough for those if you ever play that game. And lastly, Rise Star. So yeah, that does look pretty good selection. Well, predictably Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is one of them, because obviously you can play the game in multiplayer and online, which is awesome. We even try to play the game in co-op play as well, so at least there's that. Now, in regards to the forms of the N64's future games lineup though, now this one gets really interesting, because not only does it show us a brief footage of Majora's Mask is also coming to the Switch Online membership service, but also Banjo-Kazooie is actually going to be on the Switch Online membership service, and I was like, hell yeah, Banjo-Kazooie on the Nintendo Switch. That's super awesome. Especially noticeable for those of you people out there who actually missed out on the N64 version. Well, you can now finally able to actually play the original Banjo-Kazooie on the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, that's really awesome and epic at the same time. I don't know if they might able to bring Banjo-Tooie onto the Switch Online membership service, but they will do at some point. I'm guessing it's because of how the fact that because Banjo and Kazooie are actually on the parts of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster, which is really awesome. And also eventually they'll bring in Mario Golf for the 64, which is pretty much expected. And also they're going to be bringing in Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, on the Switch Online membership service, in addition to the original Pokemon Snap as well, so that's super dope as well, and even the original Paper Mario, and even F-Zero X. So yeah, that does look like very promising with the forms of the future lineup of games. And of course, much like the forms of the NES, and the Super Nintendo games, in regards to the forms of the Switch Online membership service, much like those two consoles in particular, they also bring in the wireless versions of not only the N64, which looks very accurate, but also the Mega Drive controller itself as well. Although, the only disappointing thing is for me, is the fact that on the European version, along with the American version of the Mega Drive controllers, we are still basically stuck with 3-button controllers, whilst luckily in Japan, they obviously stuck with the 6-button, which, that could be a kind of a problem, especially noticeable if they bring in, like, fighting games or something like that, like, take, like, Street Fighter 2 or something like that, or any versions of Street Fighter 2, for instance, like Super Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition or something. That game does have a lot of emphasis on the forms of, like, recommendations of using a 6-button control pad or something like that to use certain combos or anything, so yeah, that might be kind of problematic though, if they stuck with the 3-button controller, so, but that's alright I suppose, but we'll see what happens in the future. And the next thing they did revealed is a whole bunch of compilation games. Like, for instance, that's, well, first of all, they bring in Shadowrun Trilogy, that's gonna come out until next year, and I somehow accidentally died, but that's okay, because we've respawned into that split path, but that's alright. So yeah, with Shadowrun Trilogy, it's now going to be up on the Switch, so yeah, that should be interesting for those fans out there. So And also recently, after the several of leaks and rumors out there, they revealed there's another Castlevania compilation game, which this time around is mainly focusing on Game Boy Advance installments, although with one additional game in there as well. Yes, Castlevania Advance Collection is true and it's been revealed. It's about to be, well, I think this is actually the most recent release actually, so both on the Switch, PS4 and Xbox systems, so yeah, that does look super dope. And the collection they did reveal is, of course, the first 3 of the Game Boy Advance games, of course, of the Castlevania games, like ranging from, well, you know what I mean, Castlevania Circle of the Moon, if I recall correctly with that, the first game's title, yeah. Castlevania Circle of the Moon, and also they did bring in Harmony of Desistance. I think I mispronounced that name very well, so I do apologize for that, as well as Oreo of Sorrow. But in addition to those games, they also bring in Castlevania Dracula X, aka Vampire's Kiss in Europe. So yeah, that does look an interesting selection right there. Well, at least to be more specifically, the 3 Game Boy Advance games is the most highlighted, whilst Dracula X is okay. I mean, nowhere near as fun as the forms of Rondo of Blood, personally, but it knows what it is. It's a really good compilation game. So, and after that, they've shown us a remake of the forms of a pretty obscure game, although it has been made by the forms of Square Enix, and that's what appears to be ActRaiser, and it's going to be a remake of the game, and that usually calls it ActRaiser Resistance. So yeah, that does look interesting, and it's about to be, I think it's also another one of those latest release actually, so on the eShop and everything, so yeah, it seems cool and all that stuff. And also they did reveal a next game for Deltromine series, which this time they bring in Chapter 2 to the table. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Although personally though, it's not my interest though personally, and it's going to due out just recently as well. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. And also they did reveal a short reel of the third-party supportive games is about to be coming up later down the road for not only for in terms of the end of the year, but also entering at some point in 2022 as well. So for instance, they've shown us a brief footage of Hot Wheels Unleashed, which is about to due out until tomorrow. So yeah, I guess that's something, I suppose. And also they revealed Surviving the Aftermath that's about to be hopefully releasing in this winter. So yeah, I guess that's something, I suppose. But again, it's not my cup of tea. And also they did reveal some more gameplay footage of Shin Mankei Tensumi 5, so at least that's something to be looking forward to for some fans out there. And it's still releasing until the 12th of November in this year, so yeah, that should be excellent indeed. So, and also they revealed some more footage of Wreckfest, and it's about to due out on this autumn, so yeah, expecting to be hyped about that, even though I wasn't really interested with that. And also they bring in some more arcade archives, which they are entirely based off from Namco of all things. So those are, dang it all, that was terrible right there. I know there's actually a train switch I can able to activate, but I somehow messed up with my jumps, so that's just great. Anyway, in the arcade archives they did revealed are Sexfus and Pac-Man, the iconic Pac-Man game. And yeah, it's so weird able to actually having Pac-Man arcade game being this late, unlike the PlayStation 4 and all that stuff, which I just have no words to say. And after that though, they shown us Shigeru Miyamoto on screen, and they did tell us about the fact that with the upcoming movie, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is about to due out at some point in next holiday, specifically holiday 2022 release. So yeah, that's going to be pretty awesome actually, although for North American anyway, because as far as I'm aware, for release dates in Japan and Europe and any other regions in a later timing. So yeah, I have no words to say about this honestly, but it knows what it is when it comes to filmmaking sometimes. They always get it quite later than the Americans and stuff like that, which makes it a little bit obvious. So And they did show us some voice actors that are going to be revealed as the actual voice casts. Like, I believe the first voice cast they did mention is Chris Bart, that he's going to be voicing Mario. So, yeah, this brings us into a bit of a, well, controversial for some people, because expecting that Charles Martin will able to actually be voicing Mario throughout the whole film, but unfortunately though, it's going to be choosing Chris Hart as going to be a part of his Mario's voice, which he also did the Guardians of the Galaxy and several other adventure films, so I guess that's alright. I mean, surely it might be entertaining and stuff, but we'll see what happens until next year. And also, they did manage to able to... Although, I would mention about the forms of the voice casts until the next video, because obviously we'll try to mention more about that in a moment, along with the whole list of the Mario Party Superstars revealed minigames, so... But either way, though, we'll have to wait and see. So, anyways, before we continue things on with the forms of Hailfire Peaks, we need to head back into Isle of Peaks for a moment, and because of that, first of all, before we're able to get into more things itself, we're gonna have to able to head back into the train station, if I was assuming that correctly. Well, actually, kind of think about it. Let's not worry about that right now, because first of all, we need to head back into Wasteland quickly, and after all, though we've actually already did manage to able to go ahead and actually, kind of think about it. We'll head back into the fifth world anyway, because I know there might be something missing that we could probably try to do. That is the fact that we need to hit in there, the Stomping Plains. I think this is the final time we can able to explore this place. And that, after all, we've actually got ourselves a snooze pack, so this means we can now able to regenerate our health anytime now, if we keep on getting smacked quite a lot with that particular dinosaur in mind. And hopefully with that particular place will be no longer going to be an issue for tons of deaths and everything, so... Yeah, anyway, like for instance, for example right there, I've almost died there, but now I can use Snooze Pack at any time to able to regenerate my health. So yeah, that should be pretty noticeable and super awesome at the same time, so no need for frustration, trial and error, so apart from that I suppose. But anyway, the next thing they did revealed is more gameplay footage of Splatoon 3, because it has been about 7 months ago since we actually last heard about Splatoon 3, ever since at the very end of, you know, February Nintendo Direct. So, and they've shown us some more gameplay footage, including some more weapons, in addition to some familiar stages from the likes of not only the second game, I suppose, but also the first game as well. But also they've shown us some more info on story mode, which... I don't know if it has been a long while since I actually heard about Splatoon stuff, for ever since when Splatoon 2 first came out on the Switch. But let me tell you, I was really excited about the third entry as well, still. And it still hasn't got any exact release date yet, but sure enough, they did manage to mention quite a number of things. So yeah, and they've shown us the forms of some more stuff going on there, so I suppose that's pretty much as far as I can say about Splatoon 3 for that particular trailer alone. And I think they've shown us the final thing throughout the majority of the whole Direct, and that's what appears to be... Well, I almost get confused at first, because they're expecting to able to show us Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which was actually heavily being rumored in the past. But, for I've seen the actual deadly creatures and stuff like that, wait a minute, that can't be Xenoblade Chronicles and stuff. That honor goes to, yes, Bayonetta 3 is now finally got itself its trailer at long last. After 4 years actually, since when they first teased this, back in the Game of the Year Awards in 2017. Jeez Louise, it's been 4 years since the last few information on Bayonetta 3. So yes, Bayonetta 3, in addition to able to finally get ourselves this new trailer, but also the first gameplay footage, which it feels very similar to Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2 or something. And also we get ourselves well, the release date for the game now, and it's going to be due out at some point also in 2022. So yeah, between the forms of multiple games, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, and also Splatoon 3, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, and even especially noticeable with a new Kirby game, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and even especially noticeable is some other games in the future, and also Triangle Strategy game. Oh man, 2022 is going to be a much more of a huger year than any forms of how it does it on the past years, because I highly doubt that 2022 is going to be a very similar year as in 2017. Well, at least the only things I was hoping for is that, well, Mario Kart 9 obviously, and most importantly, Super Mario Odyssey 2. Just saying.